things going? Yes, we are live. Today is Thursday. I'm so excited to be sharing with you a great friend and client of mine. His name is Eric Johnson, and he is one of the founders of Teamsy, and he just wrote a new book. So I'm super excited to have you, Eric. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited too.
Tell them what the name of your book is and tell them what it's about.
The book's called Power Hour Boss, and it's about how to build a relationships-based business in less than 1 hour a day.
I love it. I love it. And so,
Yeah.
And then tell them all about your background. Tell them what you do on a daily basis.
So my background is as I've been a professional business coach and consultant for 20 years now. This is my 20th year. And helping people build a business based on relationships. About 5 years ago, I kind of fell into the network marketing space as a side hustle. I'm sure there's people watching this that's their side hustle too. And I was amazed that there were no professional tools for network marketers. So put together a team of people smarter than myself, and we launched Teamsy, which is a CRM software system designed for network marketing, and it's super easy and elegant, easy to use. And it helps people to systematically build relationships. So we launched that about 4 years ago. We came to market, and we've helped over 100,000 people with it since then. It's been pretty awesome.
Wow, 100,000 people.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like I only have about 2,000 clients, so 100,000 would be a lot. So tell them, just a little bit about, and I'm typically the one being interviewed here. So, I reached out to Eric and I'm like, man, I love the fact that he's got a book coming out, or that he just, launched his new book. And I remember how excited I was when I had my new book, and I just wanted to get in people's hands, and I wanted to provide that content for them. And so it's super exciting. I'm super proud of you. How long did it take you to write the book?
About 2 years. Honestly, I should have been able to do it quicker, but you know how it is. It just like, I've been like, I gotta do this. But it finally when I just said, enough's enough, I got to get this out. But, it was on my heart to teach, to have something somebody could pick up that taught them, the entire relationship approach to business, soup to nuts. And I feel like it's just, people use they throw the word around relationship around, but they're still stuck in kind of the old pattern of, no, I just want to get a sale. I want to close somebody. And I think we're in a different age. We're in an age where people want to do business with someone they trust. They want to feel like they have a trusted advisor they could rely on, and they don't want to be closed. They want to have their problem solved. And so it's just a different approach, And so what I've been teaching for 20 years is how to put the relationship first, how to build trust with people and serve them. And in the end, you end up with a much bigger book of business. You're just not having to work so hard to maintain it. And most of your friends are still your friends at the end of it.
I love it. Well, and the thing is that, I'm an accountant. So most people think, accountants are super introverted, and, probably I'm not supposed to be an accountant. I was not put on this earth, I don't think, to do that in the beginning, but I found my way through. And so how I've become successful is to build those relationships. So yeah. I realized very early is that, if you cannot sell, you might as well quit. And so many people are scared to death to sell anything, but they don't realize they have to sell themselves, whether that be you're in a job, to get a job interview, whether that be, as a parent. I mean, I think it's probably the hardest sale that you can possibly make. But then you've got to sell day to day. And so what I love about what Eric is saying is building those relationships. Some of them may not necessarily pan out in the beginning. And, I'm the world's worst at follow-up. So, I don't typically follow up on anybody because I didn't keep a system beforehand, right. Making sure that I was keeping up with people. Right. And so that's kind of what your CRM does. Correct?
Well, yeah, the truth is that the people who are really good at reaching out, connecting with others are usually not the same people who are really good at have follow-up systems. So you've got to make it something that's really easy to do, because the truth is that if you don't have a system like Teamzy working for you, it's like your business is like drinking water from your hands. I mean, you can do good business and you can make good income, but you're wasting way more than you're drinking, And so that's why it's so important to make sure that people aren't falling through the cracks. It's funny because I remember when you and I first met, Courtney. For those of you guys watching, we met at a conference. We didn't know each other, but we had friends in common who introduced us, and we ended up sitting next to each other at dinner. And Courtney, and I was literally in a state of panic over my tax bill that year. And, we'd had a good year. Teamzy had been going. And this is the thing about success, is suddenly you have money and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to pay this much in taxes. And so here I'm sat next to Courtney, and what do you do for a living? And she was so passionate about it. How many of you have ever met a CPA so passionate about it? And she's like, I just love saving people money on taxes. I said, thank the Lord that he sat you next to me, because I just love that you love that and I need help. And I think, when you say you always need to be selling, people are intimidated by the word selling, but it's about sharing your passion.
Yes.
It's about sharing your passion. And if you're passionate about what you're doing, it's easy to sell. You're just sharing your passion and finding out who needs the solution you have to offer. I was at a party a couple of years ago and met a gentleman, and we were just talking, and what is your business? And I'm trying to explain to him that, CRM for network marketing, right? And what's your business? He had a hospice care service.
Wow.
Now you might, that doesn't really sound like an exciting business, but let me tell you something. He was so passionate about it. I wanted to know everything about it. Tell me more about that. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. And he was explaining to me with such passion why he loved his business. And I think that it doesn't matter what, everybody has something to offer other people. That's a solution. And that's what sales is finding that solution. And if you can just think of it in terms of how can you help other people and at the same time share the passion for what you're doing, you're going to open lots of doors for your business.
I love it. I love it. And that's so true, because, I am crazy passionate about taxes. And I think, people tell me all the time, they're like, you're amazing. And I'm like, the only reason you think I'm amazing is because I'm the only one talking about this stuff. Right. So, because I love freeing up money for people. And then
Right.
I love teaching them. Okay. So I love helping them get whatever it is that they need. And, and I'll talk about this in just a second, but audit proofing as well along the way. So if I can help people understand, okay, you need to have a home-based business or you would be brain dead, and you really would. I mean, I'm just serious. I don't, I straight up, the numbers don't lie. The 46% of Americans don't have an extra $400 to their name. And that was before the pandemic. And
Yep.
69% of Americans don't have an extra $1,000 to their name, or didn't before the pandemic. And so, a lot of people right now are getting this stimulus check money, and, and some of them have a lot of time on their hands when they could be actually spending a couple $100 finding something they're passionate about, whether that could be nutrition, that could be relationship building, it could be some sort of sales, it could be nutrition, it could be writing a blog. I don't care what it is, but some sort of home-based business that they can be a part of, whether that's network marketing, affiliate marketing. Join it. By doing so, you're now freeing up money in tax savings, but to the tune of between $4,000 and $8,000 a year in taxes on minimum. And see,
Yeah.
guys, the one thing, and Eric probably can attest to this, and you're in California, so I mean, they pay tons of taxes. It's crazy there. Cost of living is insane, but the average household in America, family of four, is making $60,000 a year. They're paying $14,000 in taxes. That's leaving leftover $46,000. The problem with that is the cost of living in America on average is $53,000. I'd be willing to say in California it'd be like 90. You got to make 90 or 100. But
Yeah.
people are going in debt $7,000 a year on average to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to take 2 weeks paid vacation. And so what I love to teach people is just find something you're passionate about, open your mouth, start sharing that with people, and then you guarantee yourself massive tax deductions. Well, one of the bigger pictures and something that people are always so freaked out about is, what if I get audited? Well, all you have to do is show that you're attempting to earn an income. Well, how do you do that? You open up your mouth. Now, something like what Teensy has done, that takes it another level. It's like,
Right.
okay, well, show me who you've been talking to or what you've been doing, because you may suck at sales. Like, you may be the worst salesperson on the planet, but you could be talking to 10 people a day trying to share with them what you're doing, and they're just not giving you time of day. But having a management system so that you can say, here you go, here's all the people I've been talking to, here's what they've said. It's just an even added bonus. And then it's a tool. We just implemented, we've spent tens of thousands of dollars, I think, on our management system that was built from scratch for the accounting industry for us. And now that we have that, we can actually do marketing campaigns. So you guys can you do marketing stuff with Teamsy?
Well, Teamsy is a little different because it's really geared towards the one-on-one connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it does allow you to plan marketing outreaches, because you can create groups and lists and subgroups and tag people. But the main thing is teaching people the value of the one-on-one connection. And one of the principles that I teach in relationship marketing, this is in the book too, if you guys check it out, it's that the only way to deepen a relationship is to invest time and actually connect one-on-one.
Yes.
Right. So what we teach is how to connect, even just a few seconds, but just in you. Like, I'm sending you a message today, one-on-one to you. How are you doing? How's your family? That little investment of time is something that people really value. And as opposed to like a blast email, which a blast email is a great way to get a message out.
Right.
But it's not personal, which is why the average open rate is like 2 to 6% on a blast email, right? Whereas if you send somebody a text message, or message them on Facebook, the response rate is going to be closer to 90%. So it's just a much higher amount. Why? Because it's personal, it's one-on-one. So that's one of the things that we really focus on. But you can't really build a business from a place of disorganization.
No,
you can start creating some momentum, and then it just starts to come back and overwhelm you. It's like you push a wave up against a wall, and it's like the wave's moving, and then it comes back at you, right? So, and I think most people, when they start a business, the people who are good at it and they see early momentum are suddenly like, oh my gosh, I need systems, because this is insane what's happening right now.
Exactly. It's funny. I still have like people's names when I was in network marketing, because I'm not anymore. So don't freak out. So you can send people this video. But I had like people's names. I would have their first name, and I would say Walmart, Greer, South Carolina, on such and such a date. So I could remember who that person was. Like, who was that person I met at Walmart? Because I knew that they were somebody I needed to reach out to, but there was no real system that I knew about. And I think one of the biggest reasons why a lot of network marketing, because that's kind of what the focus is in Teamsy, is network marketing. A lot of the reasons people fail is because they need systems and they don't know what to do. And so they don't comprehend, I have to actually cultivate a relationship. Sometimes people don't tell you yes right away. It may take 1, 2, 3, 10 times, depending on their personality type. And, it's so amazing that people just sometimes give up the first time. And, right. I mean, so today, like, people that said they didn't have time or money 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, I can guarantee that those are the people you need to be going back to today and saying, hey, has anything changed in your life, right?
Oh, right now is the best time ever to have a home-based business, because people are at home and they're more responsive than ever. People who haven't responded to your message for the past 3 years might respond right now, because they're going to have time to look at it, and people are really in need of connection with other humans right now. You and I are lucky because we've got tons of kids, and our household is not lonely.
Yeah.
right? I mean, I know you've got more than me. Like my house is not a lonely place right now. I've got 4 kids. There's no loneliness. In fact, we're down to, you know, mom and dad are taking extra time in the restroom just to get that extra 5 minutes of quiet. But a lot of people are lonely. A lot of people are alone right now. You
Yes.
know, I know like my mom is alone. She lives in a different city. There's nobody with her. And so there's a lot of people that are really longing for connection. But then again, people like us might just want to connect with other grown-ups too. So it's a really good time to reach out to people just to connect, just to say, how are you doing? How are things going? You know, if you're active on social media and you actively shared your passion, people know what your business is. You know, and you'll be surprised how many people are going to go, it's so funny that you reached out. I was thinking about you the other day, you know, because let's be honest, having a little something on the side right now to create income, it's
Yeah.
very attractive. A lot of
Yeah.
people are out of work. And, you know, the reason why I started my own business was because I was in the corporate world and I loved it, man. I had a job. I loved my job. I had a corner office, Ocean View in Carlsbad, California. It was awesome. And then the recession came and I got an award, great job award. And then a week later I was laid off.
Oh, wow.
Out on the street, right? And it was a recession, so there was nowhere to go. Everyone was out of work. And I thought to myself, this sucks. That was completely out of my control. It didn't matter what I did, how well I did my job. That was out of my control. It was out of my employer's control, right? They just couldn't afford to pay me anymore because their customers were leaving. And I said, you know, you got to have some control in your life. Having your own business, yeah, it's a lot of work, but you're in control of it. Right now, we've been home in isolation. We're in California. We have mandatory lockdown going on. I don't know if you guys have that where you are, but I mean, we technically are not allowed to go out except to get groceries. And it's like business as usual. Actually, more so. I have more to do now. I can get a little bit more active because I know people are present and watching and paying attention. Right. So I have control over the fact that I can get to work right now and not just sit and wait for someone else to take action. And that opportunity is available to everybody. And whether it's, you know, from your perspective, it's like a free $4,000 to $8,000 right now off your taxes. You know, the year that I started Teamzy, I used that tax return to start Teamzy. You know, that money was what I used to start Teamzy. I needed, I think it was like $4,000 that I needed to pay the attorneys to do all of my incorporation and everything that I needed for Teamzy. So it's like, you know, you could take that savings from one. You could actually start multiple businesses with it. It doesn't make sense to pay all that to the government, but at the same time, beyond the tax savings, you actually can make some money for yourself and your family
And change your life. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you know, you look at it, and I think I've decided something I'm passionate about even more now is to start doing these interviews to just get people to understand, you know, what it's like to be a business owner, you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, yes, sometimes it is scary, but oh my gosh, it is so amazing to be able to build something. You know, I'm super excited about what we're doing here. Like we're feeding about 8,000 children a day through our social business, that because we're giving every day for every dollar that comes in. We are freeing children. We're freeing a child about every 3 or 4 days through sex trafficking through Operation Underground Railroad, and then we're freeing up about $250,000 a week for people that they didn't know existed.
Yeah.
But and that is amazing. Like, guys, there's nothing. I think once you get to a certain level, it's like when you start becoming a business owner. You know, I never understood it because I never had extra. But when you become a business owner in the beginning, it's all about, well, I've got to make money. I've got to make money. I've got to work really, really hard. You know, I need to work 100 hours a week, and every sale is important. And, you know, we got to just make ends meet here. And then you get to a point where you have enough money to pay payroll on Friday. You have enough money to pay rent on the first of the month. You know, you have all these things, and that's, you know, and then you're like, oh, wow, this is awesome. And just this past week, like I actually had people that took over my job, and I'm like, oh man, this is truly amazing. Oh my goodness. Like, this is the second day that I've actually sat in my office since I moved from my home with 13 employees and moved into a building in September. And this is the like the second day I've sat in my office because my staff is actually doing work for me. And that's crazy. I can't, when we have 100,000 customers, obviously yours is a different situation. We're dealing with all these people hand in hand, and it's
Right.
probably just as easy to deal with 100,000 as it is to do with 2,000 the way we're doing it. But I think my biggest thing is inspiring hope and teaching you guys that you can, we had nothing when I started back this accounting practice. We lost everything we owned because I made a wrong decision and sold my accounting practice. And I was able to rebuild it through network marketing, meeting people and understanding the marketing aspect and getting them to kind of advertise for me. I don't think they realize that, but that's exactly what was happening. And so you can truly have and do whatever it is that you want to do if you believe that you can do it. And then I love inspiring hope now because I hadn't heard
Yeah.
Eric's story yet. So that's super exciting. I just thought he was rich when he started and he's here. But the biggest thing people don't understand is like, oh, they're money hungry. Like they're just going to keep building this practice or this business and they're making so much money. What we're doing is we're spending a ton of money. Let me just back that up. We're spending a ton of money in payroll. We're spending a ton of money in
Oh, yeah.
infrastructure and in rent and everything else. But what I lose sleep on at night is the fact that I didn't work hard enough and a child died. Like those are the things that get me. What business, I need to be able to try to track down as much money as I possibly can for this mom and pop or this small business so that they have enough money in 2 weeks when they get their tax refund so that it can truly keep the doors open. And that's,
Yeah.
that's so exciting. And I'm sure you have the same issues with people are just getting started. People are trying to grow massively.
Well, my background in being a business coach for so long, I think I had a good handle on what it takes to start a business. I think most people jumping into direct sales or network marketing don't, right? And so they're looking at something like Teamsy, which is like $1 a day to have, complete software that run your business. Going, wow, that's expensive. I mean, when I looked at it, I came from a corporate world where I worked for a small company. We spent $26 million a year keeping the lights on in the building. And I looked at it and went, okay, well, what do I need to start this business? Okay, I need a software suite. I need to get a scheduler for my social media. I mean, the first thing I did was sign up for about 6 different subscriptions, knowing full well there were tax deductions.
Yes.
My wife was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "It's all tax deductible. Don't worry about it." And she was okay. But I was laid off from I was laid off, which inspired me to start my business. I was later, even though my business likes to say I was laid off because the company, I was popular with the customers, but they fired me. And but it was perfect. It's perfect timing because I already had Teamsy secretly starting, right? So they fired me and they gave me like $4,000 severance. And this thing is at that moment, that's all the money I had. So I had $4,000. I spent $2,000 on a shed. The sheds that you get at Home Depot,
Yes.
the tough sheds, they have them out front. I got one of those. I had to spend $2,000 because it's California and it had to have windows because it was dropped in my bed. This was my office. I had nowhere to work in my house. We had a small house. We were upside down on the mortgage, more than 6 figures. This is California. So I dropped a shed in the backyard. I drilled a hole in the wall and ran an extension cord from the house.
Wow.
And with the other $2,000, I bought a new Mac and microphone and a bed sheet, which I hung behind me in the shed. And I started teaching people how to do relationship. First, I was working on network marketing business. I was a Beachbody coach for a while. And then on the side, I started the Teamsy thing. Well, it wasn't long before the Teamsy thing took off and I had to just focus on that. But I'm out in my shed teaching people how to build a business by relationship. Courtney in the summer with sweat just like pouring down. People said I look like a Baptist minister, just going for it. And, sometimes I'd be out there freezing. It just depended because it was completely, there was no insulation in the thing. And eventually I got to a point where I drywalled behind me and above me. So it looked like I was just in an attic room. I was in a shed the whole time, and that's where the business built was in the shed. We called it the world shed quarters of Teamsy. And eventually, I mean, now I could fit 6 of those sheds in my office now. It's been a blessing, but you just gotta, you talk about starting hope. Once you decide what you want to do, you gotta go for it. Just do it. I mean,
yes,
we're not talking about investing millions. We're talking about what can you scratch together to start building something.
yes. That's so true. Yeah, I mean, and it's so exciting just to think about. We lost everything. I had a really large insurance agency and accounting firm, and I had about 3,500 clients at 29. And I bought a little small insurance agency with one. It was one office. It was like a 12 by 12 office in a real estate company. And I had 500 clients, and they had 3 companies that the guy wrote for, and he was ready to retire. His wife had cancer. And so I took that and turned that into 3,500 clients, 11 employees, 3 offices. And I went through some cash flow issues. Now, and I built this starting in 2007, and it skyrocketed through 2010. And I was trying to build it. I guess apparently, looking back now, I was trying to build it too fast. I was trying to look too good, and you see, so I had to voluntarily withdraw my bankruptcy. And for the longest time, I was so scared to ever become an accountant again, ever become a professional again, and for 5 years, I was stuck there. And for another 5, I would say another 2 or 3 years until I actually went to a Tony Robbins event, I realized that I was self-sabotaging myself. And, it's crazy because I spent 100 hours a week for 3.5 years of my life away from my family. And that was the only thing I could think of. I failed my family, and now I'm $250,000 in debt. And, it's crazy. Like when you talked about being out on the streets, like my debt was $8,000 a month. And you can't get a job to make that much money to pay the debt. And I'm like, what are you going to do now? Right? There's nothing but up. There's no way but up from here. And so, it's so amazing to hear the stories of, what you can do if you focus. Like I didn't realize Teamsy grew that way. And, it's crazy to build like a management system, because we're building one now, and it's insane. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Well, the building of it was not done by me. It was done by smart engineers. I drew it in a notebook, but yeah, I mean, it took a full year to build it, to write the code, and then we built it for Beachbody, because that's what I was doing. And then we had a whole bunch of people from Rodan and Fields start messaging me saying, "Could you build it for us?" And so it took us a whole nother year to rebuild it for them. Wow. And then I said, by that time, everybody was messaging me. We need this, we need this, we need this. And I didn't want to do generic. I wanted it to be custom for each, So I got the guys together and said, how can we do this quicker than a year? They said, oh, well, we could redo this code, give us 3 months. And so they redid the code in 3 months. Now somebody messages me and says, can you do it for my network? I say, yeah, I can do it for you in 24 hours.
Wow.
So, it was just figuring out how to scale it. Now we've got 80 something custom versions of Teamsy. So
like real estate, can you do other like industries other than network marketing?
We have a small business version. So it's, it can be used in general for small business. My original industry is real estate. That's where I come from. And we don't have a specific one for real estate, though we do have a lot of real estate agents using our small business version because it's so easy to use. And a lot of the real estate CRMs are very complicated.
Gotcha.
A lot of realtors like it that way, like it complicated. But most people they just want to take care of the relationships in a systemized way. See, the thing is, like, building a relationship, it's about being consistent.
Yes.
Right. And I haven't met a human being who's really good at that. You got to have something that's helps you. I mean, I know you've got an assistant that helps you in your business. And for years, as a coach, when people would ask me, what do I need to get my business to the next level? So you need to hire an assistant. hire an assistant. And your assistant needs to basically be your boss and tell you what the heck to do every day, who to call, who to connect with. Here's the list of people you need to follow up with today. And help lots of people build huge businesses that way. What we tried to do with Teamsy, it was kind of like how do you automate what that assistant would do for you into a software. So that for $30 a month, somebody could go turn on their computer and it would say, Dummy, go talk to these 10 people. Here's who's up. Here's who you need to follow up today. Go do it. Oh, and if you're not sure what to say, here's some easy scripts to start the conversation. Now just go do it. You've got no excuse. And so the Teamsy doesn't call you a dummy, but my version calls me a dummy. That's a special customization I put in there.
I love it.
But you get the idea. It has to be one of the books that I read in the 90s, which really helped me thinking about projects like this. It was called Don't Make Me Think. You don't need to read that, guys, unless you're planning on creating a tech tool. But I love the concept of software that doesn't make me think. Don't make me think. I don't have time. It's not that I'm not intelligent enough to think. Courtney, I know you and I have this in common. I don't want to slow down and think.
No. And I call it, what's crazy? I call it the road less stupid. Like, I help people take the road less stupid because I've already screwed up. So you might as well listen to what I've got to say, and I can just get you there faster because I've already done the dumb things, and I've done some smart things along the way. So I can help out and make sure you don't do those. So, I love just having this conversation, and I want to start doing this and just helping educate the masses because, guys, sadly enough, I had a friend of mine, and she's putting together a virtual event and Top Summit, and they just launched it today, and I'd shown her an app called Remo, REMO, and it's literally that we can all go, and looks like it's in an open room, like an event room, and it has these tables and chairs, and you can actually each go and sit at the table and chairs and hang out and network together. And I'm like, oh my God, like that is so amazing because I miss everybody. I'm used to going to events and getting to, connect with people and find out what's going on. And, we've got to figure out easier ways to do that in where we're at right now. But guys, there's never been a better time than to be a business owner. There really hasn't. And if you did not realize before that the system was broken, and what I mean is the W-2 system, if you didn't realize that before, now is the time to open up your eyes and realize that everyone in America should have some sort of home-based business so that they can start utilizing and writing off their living expenses because they now get redirected into business expenses. So with Teamsy, if I start a business today, let's say I'm in a network marketing business and I join a business for a couple $100, not only is that a tax deduction, my cell phone is a tax deduction, my internet's a tax deduction, a portion of my home is a tax deduction. So I'm not spending any more money on those things. And at the end of the day, how do we create the audit proof portion? Well, we open our mouth, we share what we're doing, we keep track of it in some sort of management system. Teams is a great system, and we just start sharing. And as we continue to build up relationship after relationship with people, I wish to God I would have had some sort of management system along the way. I would have hundreds of thousands of people, I think, if I had kept track. Because when I left my accounting firm, I had no management system. Like, there was, not my accounting and my insurance agency 10 years ago. That would have been great for me to go back to and say, hey, I'm here, go back. But I didn't have that. So, check out Eric's book. Check out Teamsy. Can they go to just teamsy.com?
Yep, you can go to teamsy.com and try it for free for 30 days.
Wonderful.
It's spelled just like this.
Yeah, just like the hack. Make it easy. You don't even have to think. Right? So
that's right. Don't think.
Exactly. And then I'm going to post as well on here so you can get a copy of my book. I want to make sure that we are providing as much free content as we possibly can to help provide hope for you in this whole time and to be present. So, Eric, do you have any last words you want to give, advice, changing the world, whatever you want to say?
I would just say, I love your thing is you got to be brain dead not to have a business, and she's right. So if you don't have one, seriously, talk to your friends that have talked to you about opportunities. Find one that's good for you. For those of you guys who are discouraged in your home-based business, hopefully this conversation was an encouragement to you, because it really is a great time. It doesn't matter what you've done or where you've been. What matters is where you're going to go next. So that's my word of encouragement, and also thank you, Courtney, for having me on today.
All right, Eric. I thank you so much. And guys, go out and change the world. Have an amazing day. And I hope it is more relaxing and less taxing for you. Bye.
God bless you.
And